Have you ever felt the world pulling you in every direction while something deep inside whispers for you to stop, to step back, to be still? What if that whisper is not weakness, but the most powerful signal your soul has ever sent? Right now, in this exact moment, you are being called to make a choice that will define the next chapter of your life. The noise is louder than ever, the demands are relentless, and yet something within you knows that clarity will only come when you dare to walk away from it all. This is not about running from responsibility or abandoning those you love. This is about recognizing that the most profound transformations happen in the quiet spaces we often fear to enter. You have been feeling it for days, perhaps weeks, the exhaustion that sleep cannot cure, the confusion that advice cannot solve, the restlessness that distraction cannot silence. Your body is speaking a language older than words, and it is telling you that something must shift. The world operates on a frequency of constant motion and endless chatter, but your inner world is seeking a different rhythm, a deeper resonance. A sacred pause. If these words are landing for you, there is a clear way to move forward without getting scattered. Prosperity revealed in 3 dimensions is a simple and profound path designed to help you bring order to the noise, return to your center, and act with clarity. It guides you toward practical and spiritual prosperity, abundance and wealth, with purpose, offering both the understanding and the practices to align your inner world with your outer reality. You can explore it in reading or listening, whatever fits your life right now. Everything is in the pinned comment and in the description. Take the time that feels right, and now let us come back to the heart of our exploration. There is a turning point approaching, a threshold that only some will recognize. October 11th is not just another date on the calendar. It represents a fracture in the continuum, a moment when what has been dissolving finally releases its grip and what is emerging begins to take form. You did not arrive here by accident. Your soul guided you to these words at this precise intersection of time and awareness because you are ready to see what most people cannot yet perceive. The tension you have been carrying in your chest, the fog that clouds your thoughts, the overwhelming need for space and silence, these are not signs of failure. They are symptoms of awakening. Your energy field is protecting itself from frequencies that no longer serve your evolution. And when 2 worlds vibrate at incompatible levels, one must quiet itself so the other can finally be heard. Within the next 72 hours, an invisible wave will pass through every living being on this planet. Most will not notice it consciously. They will continue their routines, their conversations, their distractions. But you, and others like you, will feel the shift as a visceral knowing that something has changed. This is not mystical fantasy. This is the architecture of consciousness responding to a collective recalibration. The isolation you are being called to is not punishment. It is not loneliness. It is a surgical intervention of light, a deliberate withdrawal from the cacophony so that you can hear the signal beneath the static. Imagine walking alone through a forest at dawn. The air is cold, sharp with the scent of earth and pine. The world is still sleeping, but you are waking. Each step takes you deeper into silence, and in that silence, something within you begins to align. You do not need to do anything except choose, remain in the noise, or answer the call of the calm. This choice to step back is one of the most misunderstood acts of courage. Society tells us that connection is always good, that isolation is dangerous, that distance equals rejection. But there is a difference between loneliness and solitude, between abandonment and sacred retreat. You are not becoming distant, you are being reborn. Every external voice pulls you toward the past, toward the version of yourself that no longer fits, toward obligations that drain rather than nourish. Every opinion, every expectation, every demand for your attention is a thread tying you to a frequency that is fading. October 11th acts as a cosmic reminder. Choose yourself. Cut the invisible cords that bind you to dramas that are not yours, habits that no longer serve, conversations that leave your heart emptier than before. You do not owe anyone an explanation for your need for space. Those who truly love you will understand your silence. Those who do not were never aligned with your true path. This is an initiation. The universe is not asking you to abandon others. It is asking you to stop betraying yourself in order to remain close to them. There are two roads in front of you. On the first, you continue to adapt, to please, to dim your light so that others feel comfortable. On the second, you enter into conscious solitude. You rise, you reclaim your power. You learn to belong only to yourself. This is not a rejection of the world. It is a vow. To be alone becomes an act of purity. In that purity, your energy rebuilds itself. Your body begins to adjust as well. You may experience restless sleep, vivid or strange dreams, sudden chills, shortness of breath, headaches that come and go without clear cause. Do not be alarmed. These are not signs of illness. This is your system recalibrating, shedding old patterns, downloading new frequencies. What you call emptiness is actually an upgrade. Breathe. Breathe as if for the first time. Close off everything that does not align. Shut your eyes. Let the silence speak to you. Listen to the rhythm of your soul saying, this is where everything is reborn. If this perspective is shifting something inside you, consider subscribing so you do not miss the next insight. Your engagement helps this message reach others who are ready. Every no you speak today is a yes to your peace. Every message you choose not to answer becomes a silent prayer. You are not disappearing. You are centering. You are purifying yourself of the need to be understood by those who cannot yet see what you see. You are becoming whole again. In this withdrawal, something magnificent is preparing to emerge. Sovereignty. The word may sound cold, but it is the quiet fire of those who know themselves. To be sovereign is to love without depleting yourself, to help without losing yourself, to speak without needing to convince. It is the ability to walk alone without feeling lonely. It is to become a pillar in the midst of chaos, unmoved by the winds that scatter everyone else. Yes, there will be emptiness. Yes, some people will leave. But look at the tree. It does not mourn its leaves. It knows that this is how it prepares for spring. In the same way, your soul knows that this silence is not an ending, but a gestation. In the stillness, you return to your roots. You sink deep so that you can bloom higher. And soon, when you emerge from this cocoon, you will no longer be the same person. The voices of the world will pass through you without wounding. The old triggers will have no grip. You will see clearly, not because you have learned more, but because you are finally empty of what never belonged to you. Research in neuroscience suggests that prolonged exposure to overstimulation and social noise can dysregulate our nervous system, making it difficult to access deeper states of awareness and creativity. When we deliberately create space for silence, our brain shifts from reactive patterns into reflective modes. The default mode network, responsible for self-referential thought and introspection, becomes more active. This is not withdrawal from life. It is a return to the inner laboratory where transformation actually occurs. Several studies indicate that individuals who engage in regular solitude report higher levels of emotional regulation, clarity of purpose, and resilience in the face of external pressures. This is not about escaping the world. It is about recalibrating your relationship with it. But there is a layer we have not yet touched, a dimension that most overlook even when they choose isolation. The question is not just whether you withdraw, but how you inhabit that withdrawal. Solitude can become either a prison or a sanctuary, depending on what you bring into it. If you enter the silence carrying resentment, bitterness, or unprocessed pain, the quiet will amplify those frequencies. You will sit alone with your wounds, and they will speak louder than they ever did in the noise. This is why true isolation is not passive. It is not simply closing the door and waiting for clarity to arrive. It requires active engagement with your inner world. It demands that you listen, observe, name what arises, and breathe through the discomfort without numbing or distracting yourself. Turn on notifications if you want to stay connected to this journey. Each message builds on the last, and the next step may be the one that unlocks everything. Here is where most people fail in their attempts at solitude. They confuse silence with suppression. They think that if they remove themselves from external chaos, their internal chaos will simply dissolve. But the opposite is often true. In the beginning, the silence reveals everything you have been avoiding. The grief you postponed, the anger you swallowed, the dreams you abandoned, the parts of yourself you disowned in order to fit in. This is not a flaw in the process. This is the process. The silence is a mirror, and mirrors do not lie. What you see reflected back is not the enemy. It is the material of your transformation. The path of awakening is not about transcending your humanity. It is about integrating it fully, about meeting every fragment of yourself with compassion and curiosity. Let me offer you a practice, something simple you can do right now, wherever you are. Close your eyes if you are able. Take a slow breath in through your nose, feeling the air descend into your belly. Hold it gently for a moment, not with tension, but with awareness. Then exhale slowly through your mouth, allowing the day to loosen its grip on you. Do this 3 times. On the 3rd exhale, ask yourself one question: what wants to be born in me today? Do not force an answer. Do not search for it. Simply pose the question and let it rest in the silence. Notice what arises: a word, an image, a sensation. Trust that your inner wisdom knows the answer, even if your mind does not yet have the language for it. This kind of inquiry is not philosophical luxury. It is survival. In a world that constantly tells you who to be, what to want, how to succeed, the ability to listen to your own inner guidance is the most radical act of rebellion and the most essential act of self-preservation. The noise will always be there. The demands will not stop. The world will continue to spin at its dizzying pace. But you can choose a different rhythm. You can choose to move from your center rather than from reaction. You can choose to honor what you know in your bones, even when it contradicts everything you have been taught. If this resonates, leave a comment below. Tell me which part landed deepest for you. Your words help shape the next exploration, and I read every single one. Only then will you understand why isolation was necessary. It did not imprison you. It opened you. It transformed your silence into a sanctuary, your solitude into a sacred alliance with the divine current that runs through all things. Those who meet your gaze after this initiation will know that you have chosen not escape but truth, not fear but peace, not fragmentation but wholeness. This message speaks only to those who are ready to remember who they truly are beneath the layers of conditioning and compromise. The awakened ones already sense it. Silence is not absence. It is gestation. In this gestation, the earth recalibrates. The heavens send a wave of stillness, and your heart begins to beat in rhythm with the future that is emerging. There is a philosophy, ancient and recurring across cultures, that speaks to this truth. The mystics knew it. The poets lived it. The healers practiced it. They understood that the outer journey of achievement and recognition is only half the story. The inner journey, the descent into the self, the confrontation with shadow and the embrace of light, this is where power is forged. This is where you discover that you are not a fragment of the universe. You are the universe experiencing itself in a particular form. When you withdraw from the noise, you are not diminishing your presence. You are amplifying your essence. You are remembering that you do not need to perform or prove or persuade. You simply need to be fully and unapologetically consider the mountain. It does not justify its presence. It does not explain itself to the valley. It simply stands, rooted and immovable, shaped by wind and time, but never eroded in its essence. This is the sovereignty you are being called into. Not the sovereignty of dominance or control, but the sovereignty of self-possession. The ability to say, I know who I am, and I will not betray that knowing for comfort or approval. This does not mean you become cold or indifferent. It means you become clear. Your love is no longer entangled with obligation. Your generosity is no longer driven by guilt. Your presence is no longer diluted by the need to be everywhere for everyone. Share this message with someone who might need to hear it today. Sometimes a single insight at the right moment can change the trajectory of a life. The alchemy of isolation transforms the lead of habit into the gold of conscious attention. Habits are the autopilot of the soul, the patterns we repeat without awareness because they once served a purpose or because we absorbed them from our environment. But as you evolve, those old patterns become prisons. They keep you tethered to a version of yourself that you have outgrown. In the silence, you can finally see the patterns clearly. You can trace their origins. You can ask whether they still serve the person you are becoming or whether they are relics of who you used to be. And then, with gentleness and determination, you can begin to dismantle them. Not through force, but through presence. Not through judgment, but through awareness. The breath becomes your anchor. Each inhale a reminder that you are here, alive, capable of choice. Each exhale a release of what no longer belongs. There is a quiet revolution happening in the hearts of those who choose this path. It is not loud. It is not visible on the surface. But it is real and it is unstoppable. You are part of that revolution. Every time you choose stillness over distraction, you cast a vote for a different kind of world. Every time you honor your need for space, you give permission to others to do the same. Every time you refuse to dim your light to make others comfortable, you illuminate the path for those who are still stumbling in the dark. This is not selfish. This is sacred. This is how transformation ripples outward, from one awakened heart to another, until the collective frequency begins to shift. But let us be honest about what this path requires. It requires courage. It requires the willingness to be misunderstood, to be judged, to be questioned by those who do not yet see what you see. It requires faith, not in some distant deity or abstract concept, but in the intelligence of your own soul. It requires patience, because the results of inner work are not always immediate or obvious. You may not see the shifts right away. You may doubt whether anything is changing at all. But beneath the surface, in the invisible realm where all true transformation occurs, everything is shifting. Your cells are reorganizing. Your neural pathways are rewiring. Your energy field is recalibrating. Trust the process, even when the evidence is not yet visible. The ocean teaches depth in waves. You cannot see the fullness of the ocean from the shore. You can only perceive the surface, the foam and crash of water meeting land. But beneath that surface lies an entire world, vast and mysterious, teeming with life and stillness in equal measure. Your inner world is the same. What you present to others is only the surface. The depths, the real substance of who you are, remain hidden until you choose to dive. Isolation is the dive. It is the descent into your own ocean, where you discover treasures you did not know you carried and confront creatures you did not know lived within you. Both the treasures and the creatures are necessary. Both are part of your wholeness. If you found value here, a like helps others discover this message. It is a small gesture that creates a significant impact. So listen one last time to these words as a key, a permission slip, a benediction. Distance yourself from everyone, not out of hatred, but to rediscover yourself. Not to erase your presence, but to ignite it. This withdrawal is not exile. It is your coronation. You are not leaving the world. You are simply ceasing to scatter yourself across it. And in the silence you choose, the world dims for a moment, and then you, finally and fully, you light up again. The path clarifies as you walk it. The answer arrives as you hold the question. The peace you seek is already within you, waiting for the noise to subside so it can finally be felt. What remains when the noise finally fades? What truth have you been avoiding that is ready to be spoken? What version of yourself is waiting on the other side of this silence? You already know the answer. You have always known. The only question now is whether you will honor that knowing, whether you will step into the isolation that terrifies you and discover that it is not isolation at all. It is homecoming. It is reunion. It is the return to the part of you that never left, the part that has been patiently waiting for you to remember. Choose now. The door is open. The path is clear. The silence is calling. Will you answer? And when you do answer, When you finally say yes to this sacred withdrawal, something extraordinary begins to unfold. The first days may feel disorienting. You might find yourself reaching for your phone out of habit, seeking distraction, filling the void with noise simply because the quiet feels unfamiliar. This is normal. This is the withdrawal process. You have been living on a diet of constant stimulation, and your nervous system must learn a new way of being. Be patient with yourself. The discomfort is not a sign that you have made the wrong choice. It is evidence that you are breaking free from an addiction you did not even know you had. In the silence, you begin to notice things you have been too busy to see. The way morning light filters through your window, the rhythm of your own breath, the subtle sensations in your body that have been trying to get your attention for months, maybe years. You start to hear the whispers of your intuition, that quiet voice that has been drowned out by the clamor of external opinions and expectations. This voice does not shout. It does not demand. It simply offers, gently and persistently, the guidance you have been seeking everywhere except within yourself. The more you listen, the clearer it becomes. The more you trust it, the more it reveals. There is a sacred timeline at work here, one that operates beyond the clock and calendar. Your soul has been preparing for this moment long before you consciously chose it. Every disappointment, every betrayal, every moment of feeling misunderstood or out of place, these were not accidents. They were invitations. They were the universe nudging you toward this threshold, showing you that the life you have been living is too small for the person you are becoming. October 11th is simply the moment when the invitation becomes impossible to ignore. It is the day when the door swings wide open, and you must decide whether you will step through or remain where you are. Here is what awaits you on the other side of that door. Freedom. Not the freedom of having no responsibilities, but the freedom of knowing who you are so deeply that no external circumstance can shake you. The freedom of being so rooted in your own truth that the opinions of others lose their power to define you. The freedom of moving through the world with clarity and purpose, not because you have all the answers, but because you have learned to trust the process of discovery. This freedom is not given, it is earned. It is forged in the fire of solitude, tempered by the practice of self-honesty, polished by the daily choice to honor your inner knowing above all else. The world needs people who have walked through this fire. It needs individuals who have faced their shadows and emerged with compassion. It needs voices that speak from experience rather than theory, from depth rather than surface. When you choose isolation now, you are not abandoning the world. You are preparing to serve it in a way that is sustainable, authentic, and rooted in genuine power. You cannot give what you do not have. You cannot guide others to a place you have not been. This withdrawal is your training ground, your initiation, your rite of passage. It is where you earn the right to speak with authority about transformation because you have lived it, breathed it, embodied it, and when you finally return, when the season of isolation has fulfilled its purpose and you re-enter the world, people will sense the difference in you. They may not be able to name it, but they will feel it. There will be a steadiness in your presence, a depth in your gaze, a quality of listening that makes others feel truly seen. You will no longer be scattered across 1,000 obligations and expectations. You will be gathered whole present. Your yes will mean yes, and your no will mean no. You will have learned the art of discernment, the ability to distinguish between what is yours to carry and what belongs to someone else. This is not coldness. This is clarity. This is the gift you bring back from the wilderness of solitude. So as this message draws to a close, I want to leave you with one final thought. The choice you make today is not just about the next 72 hours. It is about the rest of your life. It is about whether you will continue to live according to the scripts others have written for you, or whether you will finally pick up the pen and write your own story. The silence is not empty. It is full of everything you have been searching for. The isolation is not lonely. It is the most intimate conversation you will ever have. The withdrawal is not weakness. It is the ultimate act of courage. October 11th is your invitation. Will you accept it? Will you walk away from everything that no longer serves you and toward everything you are meant to become? The universe is watching. Your soul is waiting. The door is open. Step through. Choose yourself. Choose the silence. Choose the becoming. And trust that on the other side of this sacred solitude, you will find not emptiness, but the fullness of who you have always been. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your awakening. Embrace it with every fiber of your being, and watch as your entire world transforms from the inside out. Listen carefully to what I am about to share, because this may be the most important revelation of all. The isolation you are entering is not merely a pause in your journey. It is the journey itself. So many people view solitude as preparation for something else, as if the real work happens when they return to the world. But the truth is, the deepest transformation occurs precisely in these hidden hours, in the moments when no one is watching, when there is no audience to perform for, no validation to seek. This is where your authentic self emerges. Not the version you have constructed to meet expectations, but the raw, unfiltered essence of who you truly are beneath all the masks and armor. In this sacred space of aloneness, you will encounter parts of yourself that have been waiting a lifetime to be acknowledged. There may be a younger version of you who needed to be heard but was silenced. There may be dreams that were buried under the weight of practicality and fear. There may be wounds that never fully healed because you kept moving too fast to tend to them properly. The silence gives them permission to surface, to speak, to be witnessed by the only person who can truly heal them: you. This is not comfortable work. It is the most uncomfortable work there is. But discomfort is not the enemy of growth. It is the very mechanism of growth. Ancient wisdom traditions have always understood this principle. The vision quest, the 40 days in the wilderness, the retreat to the mountaintop. These were not escapes from responsibility, but deliberate withdrawals into solitude for the purpose of clarity, purification, and communion with something greater than the everyday mind. In indigenous cultures, those who returned from such experiences were often given new names, symbolizing that they had died to their former selves and been reborn into a deeper understanding of their purpose. You are walking an ancient path, one that has been trodden by seekers, sages, and mystics throughout all of human history. You are not inventing this. You are remembering it, and here is what makes October 11th so significant in this particular moment of history. We are living in an age of unprecedented noise and distraction. Never before have human beings been subjected to such constant stimulation, such endless demands for attention, such relentless pressure to be available, responsive, and engaged at all times. The technology that promised to connect us has, in many ways, disconnected us from the most important connection of all, the one with ourselves. Your choice to withdraw now, in this specific cultural moment, is an act of radical resistance. It is a refusal to be consumed by the machinery of constant productivity and performance. It is a declaration that your inner life matters more than your output, that your peace is more valuable than your popularity, that your truth is more essential than their approval. But this choice will cost you something. Let us be clear about that. It will cost you relationships that were built on your compliance rather than your authenticity. It will cost you opportunities that required you to betray yourself to seize them. It will cost you the comfort of fitting in, of being understood, of having your choices validated by the crowd. These costs are real and they are painful, but what you gain in exchange is worth infinitely more: yourself. Your whole integrated sovereign self. The version of you that knows its own mind, trusts its own heart, and walks its own path, regardless of who follows or who turns away. This is the most valuable treasure in existence, and it cannot be purchased, inherited, or given. It can only be earned through the willingness to stand alone when everything in you wants to collapse back into the safety of the familiar. You earn it by choosing the wilderness and letting it teach you. You earn it by saying no when every habit wants to say yes. You earn it by sitting with the ache until it turns into understanding, and with the fear until it ripens into courage. And when the ache softens and the courage flowers, you realize the secret. Nothing outside you can confer what already lives within you. So here is your vow, if you are willing. For the next season, I will value depth over speed, presence over performance, truth over tolerance of what drains me. I will meet myself each dawn with breath, with stillness, with a question that opens rather than closes. I will tidy my spaces, prune my inputs, and curate my attention like a guardian of sacred fire. I will answer slowly, speak sparsely, and act cleanly. I will let endings end, walk forward with empty hands and an uncluttered heart. The path will appear beneath your feet, stone by stone as you move. Trust the pace. What is yours will not pass you by.